Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we are going to cover Micromachines. You guys know about Micromachines, I hope, out there. If you don't, Micromachines was a line that came out in the mid to late 80s. There was a huge craze of just tiny little toys for people to just pick up and play with. And these are the construction vehicles that came out of that line. This entire line came with all 5 of these vehicles in one pack. Back in the day when you bought the sets, they usually had anywhere between, I want to say, around 3 to 6 vehicles, depending on what they were. Some of them had semi-trucks, some of them had trains, some of them had airplanes, race cars, you name it. Micromachines was a very, very cool line and very underrated. Obviously, these are probably some of my favorite just because they kind of look like the G2 Constructicons, and they're just neat. I just like these a lot. I do know that, you know, the Constructicons didn't have a steamroller or anything like that, which is, you know, fine. But we're going to take a look at each individually one and just kind of see what these guys do. So we'll get back to that. Starting out with the little loader, he's pretty neat. It's got so much hyper detail, really a lot of detail on these toys. Kind of goes overboard almost, which is nice. It even has like its taillights even picked out and a little bit of striping here on the back. Glue did such a great job with making these tiny representations of real world vehicles. Now this would have been a fairly larger backhoe. It wouldn't, not backhoe, but loader. This would have been pretty good size. It's even got a lot of detail there, even in on the engine. Like, you can see how much detail is just sculpted in this thing. And it's got like the little tampoing and such underneath, and there's a lot of detail underneath it as well. Like, you can see all the suspension and such. Very well done. It does have an articulated shovel here, which is cool. I do like the fact that this actually opens and, you know, ups and down, so, you know, you can kind of drive around and do this little thing. And you notice these guys are super tiny. They're very small. That's why they're called Micromachines. But let's go ahead and check out the next one. Next one we're going to take a look at is the cement mixer. It's a neat looking little Peterbilt semi-truck. At least I think this is a Peterbilt. Maybe a Kenworth, but I think it's more of a Peterbilt style. It's got a, like I said, like all 6 wheels. It's got a really nice detail. The barrel actually spins on this, which is cool. Because actually, if you guys don't know it or not, these kind of trucks, when they drive down the road, this is spinning consistently. It's just to keep the cement from settling. Because if they don't have it spinning, the cement will actually harden inside the barrel, and then they have to go through and literally jackhammer and drill and all this stuff to just try to knock the chunks loose to be able to use the barrel again. And that's why there's usually like an access hatch on the side. It's kind of crazy that they actually didn't mold an access hatch on the side of this, which would be neat to see. It does happen to have like a little kind of a indication that cement comes out of the back. And the funny thing is, these actually supposed to have like the little tracks, which you have like some of the tracks here that would actually, well, I should say chutes that come off that would actually attach to this so it can go down. So as it's pulling the cement out, it will go down. It has a tiny little bitty ladder there on the back. Just enough detail to kind of get it across, even with the little smokestacks. I do like him. He's a pretty neat little cement mixer. But let's go check out the next one. Next one in line is the bulldozer. And the bulldozer does exactly what a bulldozer is supposed to do. It bulldozes things. It's got a nice, huge blade there on the front. This does not articulate. Unfortunately, it would have been kind of cool to see this kind of raise up and down, but I can understand why. The engineering is really hard to do at this scale. But you can tell there's a lot of detail sculpted into the engine. And it's neat to see this actually asymmetrical. It's not the same on both sides. Very, very cool. Detail is absolutely amazing on these. Love these little things. And it would have been cool to see actual working treads, but it's really hard to do on this scale, like actually roll around. So they just kind of gave him wheels. He does happen to have a hitch here, so that way he could pull some type of trailer, but there was really no trailer with this when this came out, so I don't know, it was some kind of indication for something else. You can see the driver's portion there. We can see his seat and such. Kind of hard to see, but that little yellow brick there would have had a lot of console controls on it. But they did the best they could do with this scale, and I just absolutely love it. But anyway, let's go check out the next one. Next one is the steamroller. And the steamroller does exactly what a steamroller is supposed to do. It's kind of cool. It actually has articulation here in the front, so that way it can actually turn, which is cool. I do like this about this. You can just kind of push it along your finger like that. I just love these things. They're amazing. The detail on the back is so well done. I love the fact that you can see the engine there, and then it's got like a lot of kind of just showing where the radiator would be, and then a little bit of cautionary stuff. Here's where the exhaust would come out. The other side of the engine. The fact that you can actually see in the cab, which is awesome. You can actually see a tiny little steering wheel on this one, right there in the center, which is cool. And a lot of riveted detail there. So much. It's awesome. And the fact that the wheels, this in here has got a little bit of a wonky wheel, but that's okay. That does happen. Usually in the aftermarket, this front roller is missing a lot of times, which is kind of crazy. That or this whole piece here might be completely missing, because it is kind of easy to break off if you weren't being very careful with it. But you can tell, you know, it's a really neat looking little steamroller. We don't get many steamroller toys nowadays, so let's go check out the next one. And finally, we got the excavator. Some people call these a backhoe. It's an excavator. It's got like these really cool treads just molded in, not to mention all the paint work as I drop it all the way around to the sides. It would have been kind of cool to see a little bit of like silver paint work here, but I mean, most construction vehicles don't really have a whole lot of detail like that. They're usually just painted either a yellow, like green, sometimes orange. Every now and then you see a red one, but usually those are the colors they stick with. The only thing I've ever seen that really kind of breaks away from that and does like a blue, as if it's like a foreign version of a one of these types of vehicles, or even cement mixers. I see those in blue sometimes, but it just depends on the company. But I do love the detail. The detail is absolutely amazing on this thing. And it's got a lot of play features. This actually has wheels that it rolls on, so you know, it doesn't actually roll on the real treads, but it actually has wheels, so they roll very well. And we'll lift up the bucket here, and the bucket can just spin all the way around. And you don't even have to like turn the thing necessarily. So it literally will do 360 degrees, which is cool. And then it also has the bucket will go up, and you can actually move the bucket out, so I can actually dig. And when I was a kid, I used to play in sandboxes with this stuff in the dirt, digging tiny bits of dirt and just picking it up and then dumping it over here, because you know we're digging a hole for I don't know what. Maybe we're putting in a water line, maybe we're digging a road. I don't know. Your imagination. I love it. That's one reason why the excavator is really cool, and probably one of my favorite out of the lot. So overall, these guys are actually really neat. They're very, I wouldn't say they're too hard to come by. You can probably find these guys on eBay. I personally got these from my local comic shop that actually carries a lot of Micromachines stuff. They've got a ton there, which is really neat. But I only really went for these because my dad used to work on construction vehicles, so this really kind of enhanced that. And I remember playing with Tonka trucks in the mud And I did have this set when I was a kid. I did have this full set. This isn't my original set when I was a kid, but I did have this set. And I absolutely loved it. I played with this thing a whole lot when I was a kid. I remember a lot of memories just because we moved a whole lot and we had to go from place to place consistently. These were ideal. I can literally pick this up, stick this in my pocket, and whenever I get to wherever I was going, I pop them there on the dirt and play with them however I wanted. But anyway, this has been Plasticon. This has been a quick little review of some Micro Machine vehicles. I'll see you guys around. I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!